Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for our knitting communities. And we do it with a twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
And hello there. I am Frugal Miss Penny, and in our birth order, I am the oldest. We have 2 other team members who aren't with us today. They are Faithful Nikki. She's number 3 in the birth order. She is our cheerleader, statistician, and sage on the stage. And we also have our niece, Fearless Miss Brianna, and she is the daughter of number 7 and quite busy these days with a new job. So hopefully you'll see her soon. Welcome. For those of you who are returning viewers, it's just tickles us that you come back episode after episode. And as always, we hope you glean something from our fiber. What were we calling them? Our fiber frolics. Yeah, that's what they are too. And for those of you who happen to come upon us or referred by someone, we're so glad you're here. We're hoping that as we share what we've learned, what we are learning and what we want to learn, that you too can add to your list of fiber goals. So without further ado, would you please grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a hearty sense of humor or the skill of rolling your eyes, and welcome to episode 83 of the Frivolous and Frugal podcast.
We should
Take it
practice
away
that.
there.
We should practice rolling our eyes sometime.
Oh, I need no practice.
Well,
what I do during meetings.
Before you have your personal summer, why don't you tell us what's around your neck?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your mercy. Look, my first cowl, woohoo, by the designer right there next to me, Frivolous Dawn. I showed it to everyone last time after I finished knitting it, but I thought you might appreciate seeing it on. This is Dawn's very first pattern that she is getting ready to publish. It was a delight to knit. I chose Rowan Ultra Wool DK, and I chose it in, the red, gray, and cream. I don't know what the real number or names are, like anthracite. Let me see, it's in my notes. It's like anthracite and, I put red, white, and gray, but they do have names. Look on my project page. I knit this on a size 8, which is what Dawn recommended. And on the Frugalometer for the fiber, I gave it $4 signs. And for the pattern, priceless. So you can see what it looks like up close. Just a delightful cowl. Thank you, sis, for allowing me to knit it. I look forward to wearing it. I think it's going to be fun to wear.
I think it should be warm.
It is warm. And I really like knitting with Rowan's super and ultra wool fibers. When you get here, I want you to look at this, and I'm not going to set you up so you have preconceived ideas. I want you to take a look at it when you come here and see if you observe what I observed. Okay. But anyway, loved it. Great pattern. I think I'm going to knit it up for gifts. I think you did a very nice job with that. And your pattern, by the way, when it releases, we can tell everyone, you have some very cool features in your pattern that reflect frivolous and frugal. So yes. I appreciate you doing that.
Yes, and I'm going to teach that class in June. And 2 of the gals that were taking the class were in the shop yesterday when I was there, and they wanted to know if I could show them both a frivolous choice and a frugal choice. So I was like, wow, you're watching the podcast too. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I am wearing this handy dandy little headband. Woohoo. I'm going to take it off and my hair is going to go wonky. When I was at sock school a few weeks ago, I just had an extra tube that I had cranked on the sock machine, and I brought it along in case there was something I could do with it while I was there. So in between what we were learning, the ladies, Miss Jamie told me that on her website, she had a free pattern for what they call the taco fold headband. So it's just a long sock tube, and then you close up the ends, and then you use this fold that they refer to as the taco fold. I don't know if you can see it on the other side where I sewed it together.
Yes, barely.
I bet it took 10 minutes to sew together. And then look at it. It's just the cutest stinking little headband.
I totally agree.
So it took 48 grams of sock yarn. Really, you just measure your head. And so like my head's 24 inches. Like I think that's the size of a watermelon. And then you go 2 inches less for negative ease. And so if you have extra sock yarn, or if you know anybody who cranks tubes, or I gladly crank them for you. Yeah, just left over 50 grams. And who doesn't have that?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to try it at our next knit in. I'm just going to crank a bunch of tubes up, short ones like this, and have the ladies make headbands. So
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I do too.
I like
There's
it.
something vintagey we talked about. I don't know what it is, but there's something vintage about it.
Like
so.
get your hair poofed up out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
I don't know.
just sport that very nicely. Look at you.
Well, I'll wear it as long as I can, or until I pass out.
Well, don't forget, we're going to do a screenshot on your way down.
Yeah, and it'll be on our Instagram, so be sure to watch the hashtag. like we know what hashtags are.
Like I know what Instagram is. I don't anyway. It doesn't matter. So what I know we could talk about Opal, but Ruby is really Ruby is what I really want to see.
Ruby is wearing my finished Ranunculus. Should we just talk about it now as opposed to in finished objects?
Please.
That's a pattern on Ravelry, paid for pattern by Midori Hirose. I took the class at Silver Thimble, and it's still a tad damp, so I couldn't wear it today because I feared that it would just keep growing while I'm wearing it. I used two different yarns for that. I used Plymouth Reserve Solid Sport that has a little bit of silk in it, and it was in the, I don't know what the number is, it's white. And then I used Aloft, which is Knit Picks mohair in white, and I held a strand of each. The pattern calls to have you use a US 10. I kind of liked it a little better up here with the US 9. So that's what I did. And then as I needed to start increasing for the bust, not only with the raglan increases of the sleeve, but I also thought I could use a little extra room. I just kept increasing needle sizes. So I went from a 9 to a 10, and I ended on a 10.5. I don't know if I can show you this. I did a very loose 1x1 rib, so that it wasn't pulling it. I see I haven't tucked in my ends yet either. I like it. I was worried, I guess, modesty wise, that I wouldn't be able to, or you'd be able to see my bra through that lace. But I think because of that mohair, it kind of hides some of that. And also I'm into the 1970s lately. I'm not sure why. Those were good years. I did the big old Blusuni sleeves. And they're about 3 inches too long, so they all kind of poof up right there at the wrist. I love it. Little warm to wear right now with the mohair, so this will have to just stay for next winter. I don't know if I'll wear it like over a long dress or jeans or whatever, but because it doesn't cinch in at the hips, I think it'll give me a couple of options to wear. I did wet block it. Great discussion. Do you block mohair or not? I did, because I wanted the stitches to even out a little bit. And I literally wet blocked it, put it in the wash machine on spin, and then I just laid it on the blocking mats. I didn't pull, I didn't tug. I just made sure everything was straight. It's a tad big right now. And so I don't know if that's because of the wet block, but I will mess around with that. I wouldn't mind blocking it again. And then maybe the last couple of minutes, just put it in the dryer to see if that just doesn't tighten things up. Now, it's not too big that you can't wear it, but yeah, so I wish I could have wore it today, but mohair right now wouldn't work. And it was wet, so that wouldn't have worked either.
I tell you, Dawn, I love it.
I gave it on the Frugalometer. I gave the pattern $3 signs, and I gave the yarn $3 signs. I learned to trust a pattern. I learned to do a tubular, a specific tubular cast on for that neck. So that was new to me. And the whole yoke, the way it was designed was new, but remember, it's my second sweater. So most techniques are going to be new. Again, the raglan increase was very similar to the raglan increase that I did with my last sweater. So overall, I've done 2 sweaters, and I say that's good. Yeah, let's move on to shawls. I love the sweaters. It's about the same yardage as a shawl. I wear my shawls every day almost. So it's not the same bang for the buck, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. But that is Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. Oh, and what is your Opal wearing?
Opal is wearing my Colorshift that was designed by Carina Spencer. I knit that in Malabrigo lace in, here you go, in the gray, multicolored, blue, and pink colorways. And, you know, why complicate things, Dawn? My iceberg is only so large and I can only fit so many penguins on it.
And we can pronounce those words.
And spell them, I'll have you know, because you know the spelling bee is about to begin, the yearly spelling bee. So I have to sharpen my skills if I'm going to watch television and beat those fifth graders. Anyway, I gave it a $4 sign on the Frugalometer for the Malabrigo, and on the pattern, I gave it a $1 sign. I look forward to maybe possibly wearing that. I think I'm going to give it as a gift, but I might wear that in the winter if I can tolerate those things around my neck.
Yeah, right now it's probably a little too hot for you.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I want to pick your brain with your, I don't know if it's vocabulary, phonics, alliteration, whatever class I failed, linguistics.
You are so funny.
That cowl, okay, you knitted that cowl?
No, I knit that cowl.
You knit that cowl, but that cowl has been knitted.
It's been knit.
Oh, it's been knit.
It's a knitted cowl. Here's the deal with verbs. They have different endings for the present, past, and future tenses. So knit is one of those irregular verbs where I guess in the easiest, simplest terms, language is dynamic. So it changes and is accepted and added into the language based on familiarity, use, if it's ubiquitous and we can understand it, right? So people begin to say knitted. It's a knitted item, right? You can use that as an adjective, but I don't say I knitted something. It's an irregular verb. I knit this cowl, right? I knit it. I am knitting this bonnet. I didn't knitted the bonnet.
Okay.
Right? So I know some are going to argue there, and I tend to be more of a purist when it comes to things like that, because I think we lose so much of our vocabulary when we start chopping it up and making it slangish. So yeah, knitted. It's a knitted cowl. And some would argue with that. They would say, but it has a past tense suffix of ed. So how can it be an adjective? Well, if you don't like that, it's a knit cowl. I know. It's hard. People get used to certain, and we tend to modify words. Okay, can I go on a small rant?
Sure.
The word gifted. I was gifted that pattern. Gift is a noun. So I received that pattern as a gift, right? Gift is not a verb.
Oh, so
we've made it a verb. Let's just say that we in our language have made it a verb. So I would like to gift you this pattern is how we would say it. But if you go back to origin, gift is, I believe, back to the very beginning, is a noun, but now it's been made a verb.
Kind of like Google. Google's now a verb.
Correct. Or the word like. The word like is used as every part of speech.
Oh.
I call foul. Like, I was like, you know, at the doctor, and he I don't know. I'm just saying there's some things you ought to hold on to for the sake of posterity, and that's one of them. Anyway, thanks for asking, and I'm sure we'll get people who disagree, and that's okay because language is dynamic, as I said. And so if you like using that word, you go for it, and I'll do my very best not to roll my eyes or correct you. No.
I'm still stuck on you're a purist. Does that make me a purist by default? By association?
No, I'm trying to do it by positive peer pressure. I'm trying to make you a purist by example and or nagging. I guess it depends on who you ask.
Something I've never been accused of, being a purist.
Well, that's about the only area for me.
So what you working on? What's
I'm
on your
frogging
needles?
right before our very eyes. I'm tearing out.
Oh.
Well, it's because I didn't read the instructions. That ought to be, what did I learn this week during the podcast? Read the instructions. Don't assume. I just finished, well, not finished. I just finished the bonnet portion of the bonnet for Judy Lamb's Angel Lace Christening set. Just look at, these are little angels. Would you just see that? They have heads and everything. Heads and wings. So anyway, I finished the bonnet portion of it and I started seaming it because I didn't read ahead to see that it has a neckband around the bottom of the bonnet. So I seamed it all the way and I'm going to just have to take out part of the seam to add the neckband. But this is part of a book, and we talked about it last time, that I bought years ago, and I like these leisure arts books. Here is the name of the book, or the cover of the book, and I have now knit all but one of the christening sets in here, heirloom patterns. And I'm knitting this actually out of Plymouth Dreambaby DK in the white colorway, and I'm pretty sure they call it white. And I am knitting on a US size 6. So on the Frugalometer, both get a $sign, both for the pattern and for the fiber. It's for a granddaughter who is due in July. So I am like right on the money. This is a first.
Let the record so reflect.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't say that because I haven't got the blanket done yet. But anyway, so that's what I'm working on. What about you?
I have just started the sea glass hat. Now I'll show you the pattern. This is by Wool and Pine. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. Now, when you go to Ravelry and type in sea glass, make sure you make it 2 words. Otherwise, you get all kinds of fun stuff. And it sends you to a link to their website to get it. Now, the sea glass sweater, the sea glass tee are very popular right now, but it is a recommended scrap project. I'm going to start facilitating a group at Silver Thimble for Scrappy Sundays. And this is one of the suggestions that somebody said was a good pattern and had knit a couple. So I thought I'd cast it on. And so it is 1x1 color work. And I am using scraps that were my scrap, and I have no idea what this yarn composition is. It's fingering weight.
Okay.
And it's definitely the color wheels I knit in, you know, as far as the grays. But I'm going to try just using 2 colors to start with. They recommend to change colors every round if you want to. I just had some nightmarish thoughts about how many ends I would have to weave in. And the Miss Laura at the shop knit it, and she did it with 2 colors. And so I just think that's looking nice so far.
Oh, I like it, Dawn.
A little slow going because it's 2-finger color work, but
so it is color work and not slip stitches.
No, it's color work. Yeah. So here's where the Learning Continental is helping me. I feel a lot more confident with holding yarn to the left, and my stitches, at least so far, seem pretty consistent. I do have some pink if I need to add in. This is a super light, almost like a pearl gray. This gray is a high twist yarn. This dark gray is a twist. The light gray is a singles. So that'll be interesting to see how that wears, if it wears any different. Now, I was showing some of the ladies this yesterday, and they said, oh, we'd rather do a cowl. So could you design one, Dawn? Well, okay. All right. I'll try to do that tonight before I go to bed. So I did last night.
Dawn!
Well, you know, all I had to do was increase the number of cast-ons. And isn't a cowl a hat that doesn't decrease? So why not put the same border both ways? And we're going to use the yarn that we all have left over from the Advent shawl, because we bought that kit and we all have leftovers. So I'm just using that yarn. I'm going to weigh it as I go. So if anybody's interested in a sea glass cowl that's a hack from the original pattern, I probably will just write that up. So
look, my first hack.
Look, my first hack. You can't steal
That could
somebody's
be the name
pattern.
of your pattern.
Yeah, really. As they take me to jail for
Yeah.
copyright violation.
It's all right. We'll get your picture going in and coming out.
That's right. Yeah. I don't look
Would
good
you
in orange.
yeah, I don't look good in orange either. Would you please tell the ladies at Silver Thimble that I'm impressed with their frugal option here?
No, I will not tell them that.
Absolutely using their leftover from the advent. Oh,
Well, and you know, I just like this idea of scrappy Sundays where new knitters don't have scraps yet, but I think most of us probably have enough to it. Nothing else do a headband, a hat. Some of us probably 6 blankets. For this hat though, the sea glass hat, I am following the pattern and it's a free. So that puts it 1 for the Frugalometer. And just so you know, it's on a US 3 and a US 5, and I am liking it so far. It looks a little small to me right now, but it's pretty bunched up on the needles. So if it doesn't fit my head, it'll fit somebody's. So
sure.
that is what I'm currently working on. What else are you working on?
I'm monogamous.
Well, I thought maybe it changed and you forgot to tell me.
No, it's all part. Well, it's part of experiment A for this year. You know, the experiment this year is buy no yarn, buy no patterns. But I'm still trying to be monogamous so I can finish my projects. That's why I'm doing it.
I'm amazed how many podcasts, I watch a lot of podcasts, but how many are switching to being monogamous knitters? So it's the rage right now.
A trendsetter. Here I was an irritant just a little bit ago and a purist. Now I'm a trendsetter. Will this madness never end? So what are you working on?
Let me tell you, I'm in love with Melanie Berg again.
Oh, you are? Ooh.
Snee, German word for snow. And if that looks like mohair, why, yes, it is. Okay, so here's what I'm using. Why would you not use pink? Rowan's Kids Silk color, this pink ombres from a bright pink down to a light pink and back and forth. And you can kind of see a little bit of that tonal.
Yes.
Okay, so according to the pattern, she used Shibui. I needed 3 skeins of this, little expensive. And then on Tuesday nights, LaRue, she's one of the gals who joins us. She did this in white for an upcoming family event. She paired it with this Lana Gatto. Would you pronounce that palettes?
Palettes.
Palettes?
Or
this is a super fine lace weight yarn. And I am telling you, super fine. Look at that.
That is fine.
You see the little sequins? I don't know if you can see them.
Get them up close. Oh, now I can. When you twist it, I can see them.
So I've just started. Literally, I am not very far. Look at that.
Dawn.
I know.
So frivolous.
When you see the white, that's the white and the mohair held together. The stripes in between is just a single strand of mohair. So it is slow going on a US 3.
Yep. Well,
delightful.
You have a year to get it finished for the big wedding. For
Penny's son's wedding at this time next year. So I don't have a dress, so I guess it's going to have pink in it. How many people do the shawl first and then the and then buy the dress? So that is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I'm using a US size 3. I ordered that Lana Gatto yarn from Around the Table Yarns in Shaker Heights, Ohio. I got the Rowan from Silver Thimble right here in town. I'm going to give that yarn $4 for especially for the Rowan. And I'm in no hurry to knit it, but because it's that single strand of mohair, the pattern's not hard to follow. It is not there's no room for error. So if you miss that mohair or you miss that picking up that other strand of lace, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quick. And I did not enjoy taking back on that at all. So
I can't imagine, since I don't knit with mohair, I have no experience, but I can't imagine trying to tink mohair at all.
No, and the recommendation, I've never done this, is if you can't rip it back, put it in the freezer for a couple of hours and that stiffens the fibers and makes it easier to rip out. I think I started this 4 times to get the nice look at the end. And every time I tried to rip out, if it knotted up, I just cut the yarn because I was only, you know, a half an inch into the project. So,
Ooh.
and then of course you're covered in mohair when you're done knitting it. So
Yes,
I was
I
doing
bet
it
you
yesterday
are.
wearing black. So that was delightful. The other thing that I casted, how do I say that? I cast on.
Oh, you can say cast it on.
Okay, I cast it on. Oh, look at this.
What is that, Dawn?
This is the start of Graceful. The long
That's
rectangular.
what it looks like. Look at you.
Oh, that's a provisional cast on that black. That'll come out. Yeah, look at that. So Graceful is a pattern by Callie Monster. It's a long rectangle. Miss Peggy, who joins our Zooms and watches the podcast, she finished hers in preparation for, I think, a class reunion. And I think Miss Angela has casted it on too. And we're all using the same yarn. The yarn pattern on the pattern, it calls for Emma's yarn and the silk base. I didn't get this silk base when I was at Four Pearls in Winter Haven, Florida last year on vacation, which is the home for Emma's yarns. I bought these. So this is called a Hella Hank. It is 150 grams of fingering weight, and it has a 10% cashmere in it. So 80% merino, 10% nylon, 10% cashmere. The other one has 10% silk, I think, which would have been delightful. And the colorway is Jackie O. So it's fun. We're all using the same colors. Now, talk about reading the pattern. I thought, you know what, Dawn, practice what you preach. So I picked that pattern. I get it into Knit Companion. I'm reading the description. And one of the first things the designer says is make sure you have 1,400 yards because you're going to use every inch of it. I think, well, that's no problem. I look at this. I have 2 of these, 600 yards each. Now, you can't fudge 200 yards of yarn, right? And I can see Miss Carol's rolling her eyes right now because she brings to my attention, I do this every time, which is true. So I had to order another hank. So it came yesterday. The colors look the same, but I'm not going to be fooled by that. I'm going to do the 2 corner, each end starts with this square. This will actually become a 16-inch square with the same skein. And then from there on, I'm going to alternate skeins. So and why is this is focused knitting for me. Really
yes.
Quiet, and I read the pattern out loud to myself as I do it. I love it.
That is
Definitely not an intuitive pattern to me, but yeah, I like it. And so a little bit of details on it. Again, it's a paid for pattern. On Ravelry, you start and you use a US 4 and a US 5 throughout the project. I gave the pattern $3 signs on the Frugalometer, and I gave the yarn $3 signs on the Frugalometer as well. Just started. I'm going to bet that's going to take me a couple of months because that has to be quiet, focused knitting. So for me, that's just first thing in the morning. So, and you know what? I don't have much on my needles right now because I just finished, you know, the other major projects. So it's nice to have 2 shawls. Now my monthly projects are still going, but they're not done for this month. And I need to cast on like another muscle burrow. So, and a couple of future projects probably for either Magpie's Cottage or Silver Thimble, but I'm kind of in that in between where hopefully I can focus on those 2 and get some forward progress. So that's what is on my needles.
Very cool.
And anything off your needles?
Yes, I have one item off my needles, and that is the Angel Lace Christening gown.
Oh, it is finished.
So, of course, you can see I still have ends to tuck in, but the bodice is those angels. Can you see them?
Yeah, you can. That is amazing.
Isn't that cute?
You did a nice job on the bobbles.
Well, thank you. I know you don't care for bobbles. I don't mind them. And I think they're well written in this, very simple. What I still need to do is I need to put my buttons in on the back, but just look at this.
That is beautiful.
Isn't it? And you can see some puckerings where I've started and stopped. And then they have the angel all around the bottom.
Oh, that's
So,
going to be a beautiful set.
I think it will be. And you know what? If she doesn't use them, she doesn't wear it. It doesn't matter to me. It'll just be something that we can tuck in her hope chest. And she can put on her baby dolls later. It doesn't matter to me. So that again is by Judy Lamb. It comes from this book that I just showed you. It's called The Angel Lace Ensemble. And it too was knit in Plymouth Dreambaby, the white colorway on US 6s. Of course, machine washable. $1 sign on the Frugalometer for both the fiber and the pattern. And I just have to knit a 3-row. You can see on this, I just have to knit a 3-row neckband. I already undid what I shouldn't have undone or shouldn't have seamed. And this will be finished, and I'll start the booties. And then I'll start the blanket because I'm going to be playing yarn chicken with the blanket, I think.
Oh, no.
And that way I can adjust size.
For new viewers, show them what's hanging off that hat.
Oh, it is a bread tie. So when I have extra yarn, I just put it on a bread tie so I don't get it all tangled up. And that's what I'll do with this one. And there's really a technique to it. So if I have one right here, I'll show you how to do this, how you use the bread tie officially. Okay. One would start with just the end at the bottom, leave a short end, and then wrap until you use up all the yarn.
That is one complex technique.
Well, if you don't do it right, you just don't quite have the same effect, I think. And you don't relish the fact that you just ate a whole loaf of bread in order to get this. So, yeah. So there you go. It has now 2 bread ties.
I'm having a personal summer like you. All right.
So tell us anything else. Oh, there is that muscle burrow.
There it is, the muscle burrow. Gosh, with Gauge Dye Works. Color Wheel is the name. I like it.
Oh.
I don't think it needs
do
a pom-pom.
too. What?
I don't think it needs a pom-pom. I can't believe I'm saying that. I might keep this one for me, actually. Now, if you want to see it flipped, she ended the skein with gray. And so I wasn't going to use that initially, thinking that was just waste yarn, but that looks okay too.
It sure does.
So
I like it.
I do too. Muscle Burrow by Ysolda Tig, paid for pattern. On Ravelry, I use a US 3. That's the gauge I like with fingering weight. So I followed the pattern for the adult large. Her mathematic new spreadsheet worked exactly right. I didn't trust it, but it was right. And I gave the pattern a 3 and I gave the yarn a 3 as well. Gauge Dye Works is an independent dyer website that has beautiful colorways. So if you're in the mood for obviously rainbow, but she does lots of beautiful colorways. And why do I think, I should look this stuff up. Why do I think she's Canadian? Maybe not.
I'm sorry, that's our weather alert radio. If you can hear it, I'm so sorry. It's in the other room.
Wow,
Behind a closed door.
Oh, all right. And then the other thing I finished, I'm rolled on it. Let's see. Oh, for Pete's sake.
Well,
Whoever Pete is, right?
I don't know. Him and Pete Newby. We heard about them a whole lot when we were growing up.
UI is done.
It is. Look at it, Dawn.
Yep.
That is gorgeous. I have to say it's one of my favorites of yours, Satin Festival of Stitches.
Yes, I would agree with that. Both of those. Olga Jazzy is the designer.
That is gorgeous. How many? Oh,
I used the yarn recommended by the pattern. Look how it didn't that end block out nice.
it sure did.
Surprise, I played yarn chicken and lost. So I am 1 repeat short. Now, because I'm a loose knitter, the pattern called for this to be 108 inches long and 23 inches deep. I'm 110 inches long and 24 inches deep. So I made it with even being 1 repeat short. So now how I'm going to wear it will be interesting. I'm not sure. I like this design feature right there, those loops. So I probably will just mess around with how to wear this. You know what I mean? Wrapped around.
What don't you like about those loops?
I know I do like them. That's why I thought I wanted to show that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So again, hard to say how I'll wear it because it's definitely asymmetrical. I want this tighter, but yeah, I like it. It is mosaic knitting. It is really knits, purls, and slips. So don't be afraid to try it. Olga Jazzy is absolutely a genius, I think, when it comes to construction. And then we put her with Stephen West on a project, and that's just a win-win. So yeah, UI is the name of this pattern. I used Woolfolk, Tav, DK, and cream gray and charcoal. And I had like 2 grams left of my bind off. I did have a little bit of the white and charcoal left, but not enough to do a repeat. And the repeat was 48 rows. So I started at the last few, I started weighing how much yarn I had left at the end of each repeat. So it is just one of those showstoppers, I think. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, just look at that.
I would agree, Dawn. To me, that is almost mesmerizing.
Yeah, and maybe just that thrown over. So
When you had it all wrapped up under your chin, it looked like a Stephen West way to wear it.
yeah. And you know, I watch Andrea Mowry's podcast, and she always shows how she wears her shawls if she's wearing one on her podcast. And I appreciate that because you just see how she just sits there and futzes with it, just like you and I do, you know? So there is no magical way to wear them, I don't think. So
How neat. You're going to get stocked with that one. I think people are going, it's going to be an eye catcher, I think.
yeah, I like it.
Yay. You go, girl. You've got the knack for that. That's for sure.
Okay, knitting with the aunties last night, I was trying to design a brioche headband.
And she did. Ah, look
Okay,
at you.
So I need to know what you think. I think it's too wide maybe, but I would like another opinion on that. I think maybe one less repeat would be better.
I would agree.
And I tried to cinch it, you know, like the taco fold.
Yeah.
But because where the 2 ends meet, I get this big.
So
So
what
I
would
did-
happen if you just gathered that, Dawn?
Yeah, and then cinched it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
maybe
put a bow on it or something.
yeah, that would work. That would be much better, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And I think you could salvage it and the width of it would be okay. But yeah, if you could just pull that together, even if you just, like the technique I used on the bread tie, but you can describe it in detail. Yeah, just with your black yarn.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, anyway.
Look at you. You are
Stop the designing. Stop it. Stop it.
I know.
All
Look
right,
at
now my
you.
hair is multi-flat for lots of reasons. Well, so tell me what have you been learning?
Well, my big takeaway happens to be something that I may have said before, but I learned in a different way. Savor the project.
Oh, yeah.
I just really have enjoyed not being in a rush, but savoring what I'm working on. And I'll tell you what reminded me of this. I was walking out of work the other day, and I work in a library. And so at the front circulation or information desk was one of our student workers, and she was crocheting. And I said, "Oh, darling, what are you working on?" And she showed it to me, and it was a Celtic cable pattern that she was crocheting. And she said, I am really enjoying this. I am knitting. It's going to have, or I'm crocheting different squares, and each square has a different texture. And she said, I'm learning, and I am just enjoying each square. And I
Wow.
thought to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to enjoy each stitch. I want to enjoy each pattern. I want to enjoy each technique. And that's what this gown has taken a while to knit, but I've enjoyed every part of it. And I'm reminding myself of that this summer. I might get a little more knitting time in, and I want to savor it. I just want to savor it and not plow through it, if you will. So that's what I'm learning. What about you?
Well, I'm doing another color shift. So like Opal's wearing, again, in preparation for Scrappy Sundays, because I think that's a great Scrappy project. But when I knit the first one, I just used a German twisted cast on. I didn't read the pattern. The pattern recommends tubular cast on. So I taught myself the tubular well, I shouldn't taught myself. I watched a YouTube video, a tubular cast on in the round for 1x1 ribbing. And it was a little futzy, but boy, is that a nice look. So for anybody who wanted to do that, I feel like I could help them now, at least follow the YouTube to do that. But you know, like you said, you savor the learning of the techniques. I just love to learn. You know, I've been trying to crank every day, and I've had a unsuccessful week in lace. Now, it's new to me. I'm just doing little ornaments. But if I don't focus, there's a big mistake, and it's obvious, but I have no trouble just starting over. Because I think that's the process, right? The learning process. And I don't need to be an expert. I just want to master it, or to conquer it, or to learn it. So I just love the process. So yeah.
And you're very good about that. And I think that's one of the many ways you inspire me, Dawn, is because you don't mind working to learn.
No.
You're not expecting to master it the first time. You just realize it's part of the process.
Well, and we had a mother who said, figure it out.
Oh, I am so thankful now.
Right? Yeah.
She taught us, I was thinking this the other day. In fact, I was explaining it to one of my students the other day. Our mother taught us many things. One of them was figure it out. And what she meant by that is you've got to work through it mentally and try it. You're not going to succeed the first time. And if we didn't, she ripped it out if we were crocheting.
Right, absolutely.
She ripped it out and you tried it again. And another thing, I think that was a byproduct of that. She taught us grit. I just don't know that any of us give up easily. We just work and work. You know, it's not like quitting is an option. It just really isn't. You end up figuring it out. And I'm grateful for those lessons. Whew, I'm grateful for those.
And it's maybe not always the fastest path, but.
Well, is this a race though? We've
No,
talked about that. It isn't.
Well,
And
I
if
think,
yeah, go ahead.
I think adult education, a lot of adults want to learn it, to do it once and be perfect. You know, and it's just not that way. It wasn't that way raising kids, you know? So.
Oh, heavens no. I mean, yeah. So I'm with you. I don't mind the learning. And after all, it's just, what does your dear friend say? You just have to be smarter than a piece of string.
Absolutely.
In memory of her, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You just have to be smarter than a piece of string. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing what you've learned. And I'm sure those of you out there watching have learned something too. So don't ever hesitate to share that in the comments under our YouTube episode, because we like to learn from you. We don't want to have to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely. So what's new at Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, actually, there are some more changes. We are just continuing to kind of find our path and do new things. We have 2 cowls that have come to an end now. So let's talk about those first. The hat cowl is over. It was a good run, but it's over. And we appreciate those of you who participated. The thread is still there. You can look at the pictures, but it is not open for comment or posting. We also closed the Fab and Frugal cowl, and that was lots of fun. Great idea. We appreciate it. And we were very appreciative of all of those posts that we saw. And for those of you who really made time to share what you finished. So in our very own frivolous way, we chose some winners last night. So those of you who were chosen have received a pattern of your choice not to exceed $10. Once you find that pattern, notify Dawn and she will help you get that. So here are our winners. Keep your ears open. Dorothy CR. Miss Dorothy, thank you for sharing your Quiera shawl. It was beautiful. We appreciated that.
Absolutely beautiful.
Miss Gina or Silas M. Thank you for all the sweaters you posted. Boy, you are a quite the knitter. You are just amazing.
Her color sense too was very good. Yep.
Beautiful colors. Miss Judy Ann. Miss Judy, thank you for posting a picture of Pearl Break. It was such a treat to see that. You too were selected as a winner.
I may have bought that pattern and some yarn after that one. After seeing that one.
Okay, do you want to give kudos and to Miss Judy now, or do you want to do that in honorable mention?
We can do it now. I'm telling you, we have very similar color sense. And almost everything she knits, I could imitate. So yeah. So thank you, Judy.
And our next winner, hey, 4 horses, Miss Cassie, you fellow Ohioan. Thanks so much for sharing and posting. We appreciate your participation. And Miss Angelic Pearl, Miss Angela, thank you for contributing some of your crocheted stuffies. We appreciate that. So you winners, contact Dawn and let her know what your pattern choice is, and she will hook you up. Now, we still do have a couple of cows going. We have the Finish Fix Flip or Frogget cow. Our next winners will be selected during episode 84. So if you haven't posted something yet, please do. And if you need inspiration, please visit the thread. Pages and pages and pages. The My Dear Stephen West cow is still going. For those of you in that thread, tune in episode 84, which is our next episode, because we will be drawing winners then as well. Now, as only someone frivolous would do, we're going to add yet another cow to our list, okay?
Why not?
Why not? You know, those of us who are frugal are going to roll our eyes and say, why not? Let's do it. Okay. The name of this cow is a new one. It's called Give a Boost, hyphenated, by the way. Give a Boost cow. And the purpose of this cow is for you to select a pattern from Ravelry or elsewhere that has less than 50 posted projects, because we want to give a boost to those new designers who just need a little FaceTime. The big designers get all their photos in Ravelry. They're all over the first 10 pages. We want to give a boost to others who are just as gifted and talented, but don't have the following. So if you're interested in joining this Cal, it will open June 1st and end August 31st-ish. If we find that a lot of us are posting those patterns, we may extend it, because Dawn and I really have a heart for those who are new, that just need a break. So it could have been, give me a break, but we don't want to give them a break. We want to give them a boost. So please join us. Similar to the Fab and Frugal Cal, there will be one thread for chatting and one thread for finished objects only. We will choose patterns from the finished objects only. So those are our only cows right now. I think there's another one brewing in the background, and we'll post that when the time is right. Open Knits still on Zoom Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 Central Time. Dawn hosts those. That link is posted in Ravelry. So if you're interested in joining, Dawn, would you remind me in Ravelry to rename that as the Open Tuesday Night Zoom?
Oh, sure.
So it's easy for our viewers to find it.
Yeah, I can do that.
I kind of coached a viewer through that.
Okay.
Okay. And we cannot go an episode without saying, woohoo, we get to meet up with our dear friends from the 3-Ply podcast, Miss Irene, Miss Joyce, and Miss Angie. And we get to meet up with you for our mini meetup in Chicago again this year. Well, second year in a row. We are meeting July 29th and 30th in Hoffman Estates, and we are having a podiversary celebration. And that is all that's going to be fancy, just so you know. We might have cupcakes or something, and that's it. It is a time just to knit with one another. That's it. That's it. No fancy swag bags. Well, kind of. We don't have like outings. We don't have anything like that. We just have you and you have us, and we're just going to knit and chat. It's a wonderful weekend of getting to know fellow knitters and really sharing the skill, the trade, the art that we all have in common, whether it's crochet, knitting. Some women last year brought embroidery, some brought painting, some brought what do you call it when they use the jewels?
Yeah.
And they had
something, yeah, crystals
or whatever. We really don't care. We just want to get to know you. So please, there is a thread and Ravelry. Go there for all the links and the information and the updates. Read through those posts. And if your question still hasn't been answered, don't hesitate to send Dawn or I a message. We look forward to seeing everyone again. And rumor has it we have some new attendees on their way this year, which will be fantastic. We're looking forward to seeing some of you. So I think that's all that's happening. Dawn, did I miss something?
And you'll put out a survey just so we get a rough number of people who are coming.
Yes, thank you for that reminder. I did not write that in my notes. I am going to create and post a survey because we'd like to kind of give the hotel a heads up about how many we're going to be there. We've reserved some space. We need to know if that's going to be enough space or not. And there is no cost for this. So the closer we get to the number, the better off we're going to be prepared for all of you. So if you would please fill it out, it just asks basic questions. We have local women, our dear, dear friends from 3-Ply. I can't tell you how gracious they are. Last year, they ran shuttles back and forth to Elgin Knitworks, and I think they volunteered to do the same thing again. Isn't that gracious?
It is very gracious.
Anyway, we'll ask if you're interested in doing that. We also encourage you when you arrive. We don't plan meals. We don't cater anything. So we encourage you to go out for dinner with others. Now, you don't have to. It's just an idea. But there are also great resources for showing us and telling us about local restaurants that are near to the hotel. So selfishly, I am looking forward to seeing those ladies and hugging their necks again. And selfishly, I am looking forward to meeting all of you who join us and getting to know you a little bit better. So if you're able, please pop in. Don't have to stay for the whole time. Just pop in and spend some time with us. I'm just going to say to Dawn that Survey Monkey, we probably need to have finished or completed no later than July 15th. That way we have heads up, and if we need to make adjustments, we can.
Good idea.
All right. Honorable mention. I would just like to start out by thanking Miss Norma for being our facilitator for the Fab and Frugal Cowl. You were so good at that, darling, and I appreciate your willingness to do that. So thank you so much. Dawn.
Well, some of my friends went to Maryland Sheep and Wool. I was unable to join them. And one of the things I always wanted to do if I get out to Maryland Sheep and Wool is to go to Magpie Fibers. They had a grand opening of their store, and they have a colorway called Bougie Beaver that I just love. It's a rose gold. So they brought me back a gift. Look at in a Magpie Fibers bag, and it is Bougie Beaver in swanky sock. Look at that color. I don't know, rose gold, would you call it?
Yeah, I
Not
think
my
that's a great
colorway, but man,
description.
there is something about this color that I find amazing. And if this wasn't enough, so it was James and Amy and Carol. They gave me the matching mohair. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to sleep with this. I don't know what it's going to be.
Oh,
my
so you
goodness.
have no idea yet how you're going to
Oh, I
use it.
have no idea, but it is amazing. And then Miss Carol gave everybody in their little group a little notions bag with a little what would you call this? A little container of wood to put in your tapestry needles.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, and then some stitch markers too. So wow, thank you, thank you, thank you guys. This is bougie beaver. Also, special thanks to Miss Irene. Miss Irene published a new pattern called Get Shorty Goes to Prom. I think it's up there on my board. That's one of the things I want to do for the boost cowl. And so she sent Penny and Brianna and I a free pattern. And I am grateful for that as well. And then I knit with some ladies down in Appleton, and we met this week at the Green Bay Botanical Gardens just to enjoy the gardens and sit and knit for a little bit. And they gave me a nice gift for my retirement. So that was totally unexpected and amazingly gracious. And I think we took a picture of the group. So if I can find that, I'll put it in. And then just looking at my board back there, I think the other pattern I want to do for that give a boost is Professor Pearl's, Christopher McGovern's, it's the cable guy socks. And so I actually have the yarn in a bag ready to go. So if I could do those and get Shorty Goes to Prom for that cowl, that's kind of my goal right now. So
yeah, and unashamedly, I think I'm going to piggyback on what you just said, Dawn. For those of you who are part of our fiber family, these are two people who have just been supporters of ours from the get-go, just encouragers, and they're very brilliant designers. And it's just that we want to see them get on that top 100 or on that first page of Ravelry. So even if you don't want socks for yourself, would you consider maybe making them for a loved one or giving them to a charity? And just hop in there and we'll get those projects up on Ravelry and we'll give them a boost.
I see Christopher had a new pattern come out again this week for a sock that was amazing. So
oh, I missed that. Of course,
so.
Yeah, I told you I hadn't been on Ravelry, so I need to look for that. So
well, there's this thing called social media, in case you've never heard of it. It was on Instagram.
can I tell you, I haven't missed it. I'm
I
going
know.
on close to a year. It's not a year yet. It'll be a year in early fall. Haven't missed it at all.
Well,
ooh, crazy.
I haven't missed a day at all. All right. Well, that is all I have for today, sis, other than what would Nikki say?
You are so good at these transitions. You really ought to be a news anchor. Our dear sister, who we're going to get to see in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We can't wait. We're going to crash her golf league. We're going to go to Iowa and show up at the clubhouse with our knitting. We cannot wait. And maybe headbands with antennas on them, red, white, and blue, and Billy Bob teeth. We're just going to greet her like she's never been greeted before. Do you know why? Because these are her words of wisdom this week. Observing others doing something they love to do is priceless. And we love to, I don't know, is humiliate? We love to go and celebrate you, sis. So just remember your own quote.
That'll be fun. We'll have to try to remember to take pictures. We're not very good at that.
No. Where would you put those pictures if you took them? Social media. And listen, again, we hope that you have a great week and that it's a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 83. And we look forward to knitting with you in episode 84. Have a great time. Bye-bye.